with. And mentoring is an interesting way of putting it, okay? If you mentor somebody, you do not rule them. You do not tell them what to do, okay? That's key. Mm-hmm. And nobody has even suggested this. I think it's fascinating. So what we have here is the notion that you can be in contact with beings that can help teach you. Now, this is going on. This is going on. I'm aware of it. Camelot is aware of it. By God, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. There is mentoring going on. But you do have to ask for that to happen. And you have to be as fully conscious in the process and as responsible and have that ability. You cannot sit there and ask them to do for you. It's not what it's about. And so I would love it if you would talk about, because you obviously have been mentored. So who better to teach us what does that look like? How is the interaction with you? Just describe, and I know that you have maybe talked to some degree, but in your interactions, if you could discuss some of the ways they have mentored you to this point.
Okay. Know that my mentoring has gone on with times that I have literally been kicking and screaming. The biggest portion of the mentoring has really been, why do I believe things? And what is it that I believe? So a lot of times the question will come, I will ask a question or I will have a perspective, and they will immediately come back and say, well, why do you believe that? You know, what is your process of believing that that's true? And, for example, religions. It was one of the biggest things I had when I was a kid. And it was an issue that my father brought up to me as well when I told him about this. We have formed perceptions of reality that are not based in reality. They're only based on perception. Now, in accepting that perception as reality, what we do is we reinforce that illusion. And that's what we have done on earth, is we have reinforced the illusion about who we are. About our strengths, about our power, about how we're supposed to live on the earth, about being stuck on the earth, about how we are supposed to raise our children. We have bought into these perceptions. The hardest things were to really look at myself. And this is really where the work is, and it's always with yourself. The most difficult work has probably been for me in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Questions like, well, who am I? They don't answer it. They don't say, well, you're this and this and this. But what they do is they have guided me to what it is who it is that I want to be. The first was understanding that you are not just a physicality. That's the first thing to grasp. You are not a physicality. And just like some of the speakers said yesterday, I believe it was Mr. Green who talked about, there is a soul and it's 22 grams. I think they've measured that in body weight. That is really who you are. And connecting to who that person really is, what that essence is all about, you begin to realize, oh my God, I am not at all who I thought I was. And I'm purposely being vague because I don't necessarily want to tell you who I am, other than to say that who I am here on earth in this lifetime and the mistakes that I have made, on some level I knew better not to make those mistakes. Okay? But we do. We do. We experiment. We create. As far as the meaning of life, they would never tell me what that was exactly. All they would say, it just is, you are creating your own adventure. Okay? So again, the responsibility is on me. As far as mentoring, to want to talk and to speak, the idea was to just keep it very, very simple. To just share their perspectives and let the people do whatever they wanted with it. And it doesn't matter whether anyone believes it or not. People know truth. People know bullshit. Eventually it all comes to the surface. It has to. Because all of you are just like me. You all know better. You know what's real. It's just a question of detaching ourselves from our addiction to physicality. And that's what it is now. It's become an addiction because the focus is on the physicality. We're not objective anymore. As a soul, when you have an out-of-body experience and you detach from your physical form, you are completely objective. You have a 360-degree peripheral view. Okay? And that's because you're objective. You're not addicted. You're not stuck in the body or addicted to the body. And that's the part that they have been working on with me the most, is to actually feel and know that essence of myself as much as possible. So when we talk about mentoring, the mentoring is to get us from where we are here to self-empowerment. That's what I'm talking about. Once we have achieved self-empowerment, and it won't take long, folks. It really won't take long. We will know exactly what to do because we are spiritual beings. We are eternal. There is no age to us. And that's not a metaphysical blind. That is a reality. So the mentoring is to help us move out of our addiction to physicality into full power as spiritual beings. And it isn't full of dogma. It isn't any of that. It's all about introspection, voluntary introspection. That's what it is.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Collier. Thanks for being here today. I wanted to ask you something about something you mentioned in your interview before. You mentioned that an ancient race called the Patal created human beings probably so long ago. I wondered if you could just elaborate on that, because I always just wondered about it ever since you said it. Thanks.
It is believed that an ancient race, some of them call them the founders, other cultures call them the Patal, created not only the wormholes, but created most of the physicality in what we know as our universe. Because as they travel, they are finding civilizations and the ruins of civilizations far beyond anything that they know. And we're talking 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th density space travelers who are traveling not only in moving in our physicality and other physicalities, but even their own. The wormholes is the best example that I've been given. No advanced space race has any idea how they were actually built, but we know that they exist. In fact, there are several that have snapped, connecting our galaxy to some of the other nearby galaxies. They've snapped, and no one knows how to fix them because we don't even know how they were built. So.
Hi, I'm Dan Bender, the one who's working on the streaming, and I was asked by the streaming audience, which is now up to 1,500 members currently watching, and I think we've probably had over 10,000 have tuned in on this particular segment, and I picked